Hey everybody, I'm going to show you how to save thousands of dollars using simple CAD software and a 3D printer. If you don't know how to design, we can start to work you through that. And remember, figure it out attitude is required, and a 3D printer are readily available. They're all over the place. So let's talk about how I use them to save lots and lots and lots of money, as well as reduce the timeline on all of my products. So with that said, this is a simple part that you could simply 3D print yourself because it's a rigid piece. But what happens when you have a flexible piece, right? I talked about in my previous product, I launched it without a nipple on the bottom or a plug, which ended up being very important for people to actually purchase it. So I had to sort of do an emergency change. And let's show how I did that. So the nipple itself is really straightforward. However, the combo plug I wanted to make sure worked prior to getting a hard tool made and having it shipped out of rubber, because the hard tool or the tool is the most expensive investment and it's difficult to change, or usually you can't change it depending on if it's die safe or it's not die safe. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like. So from a creative perspective, this is the 3D printed part, but what I want to do is bring this 3D printed part into what this is actually. And so by taking a tray here and taking the part that I need to make, 3D printing this is obviously a scaled down version as a test to before I created the product on the left. You then pour it and fill it with silicone and you get what is this negative mold. And this negative mold ends up being quite impressive and accurate, where you can then pour urethane into the 3D printed molds, simply bend and break them out, and here you go. You actually have a representative 3D part that is almost identical to these two pieces. Excuse me, and there you go. So you see the part on the left, the part on the right. And that's a very effective way to use a 3D printer to make soft, flexible silicone parts. Oh, side fun fact. So I actually use this technique to make almost 3,000 or 4,000 of these parts when I first launched the product. So that is a series of 10 or 20 silicone molds that I made, and I would just fill them up and I would make these by the hundreds at a time. Yeah, it wasn't fun, but it was able to help with my cash flow situation where I was being able to start selling the product again because people desperately wanted the drain plug. So I actually turned this into a little micro factory. Pretty cool, right? You can save a lot of money if you're clever.